Hello people of the internet, let's talk about the Bouldering World Cup in Moscow, the second of the season. And make sure you check the description because I will be linking to some more analysis by Niklas from Beta Route Setting and by Udo Neumann. And let's go round by round, starting with the male qualifying round. In general, once again, easy problems. Both groups needed 4 tops in not too many tries. There was one top on Group A, which only 2 climbers, Gabriel Moroni and Alex Kazanov, could top. It is this one that you're seeing on the screen. And as you can see, this was a pretty old school problem. And I think this competition in general continued the trend that we saw in Meiringen. There are still some jumping around, some modern style of, complex movement and a lot of coordination. But we see a lot of, old school problems with just, small holds, powerful moves, and I think most of us are welcoming that change. We wanted to see these climbers really trying hard, and we wanted to watch problems that felt hard, not just really tricky and hard in the sense that are really hard to coordinate. After the qualifying round, a lot of superstars were outside of semis. Climbers like Roland Zurgens or Jakob Schubert, who looked super strong in Meiringen, couldn't make it. Others like Jan Hoyer, Yoshiyuki Ogata, Alban Levier, Dimitri Sharafutdinov and Manu Cornu, who also made finals in Meiringen, couldn't make it to the top 20 and didn't climb in the semis. Sean McCall made it to semis once again. His last semi-final in bouldering was about a year ago in Nanjing. Also Martin Stranik made his first semi-finals of the season. I was pretty happy to see Gabriel Moroni and Alex Kazanov making it to semis in first and second position. On the female qualifiers, almost perfect difficulty. Group A needed 3 tops and 5 zones, and on the other ones, 3 tops were the ticket to semis. Right outside of semis, Mina Markovic and Ekaterina Kiprianova, who has been Russian champion. Kata Sauerbein once again missing the semis. Not the best start of the season for her. Other than that, not too many surprises. 3 really young climbers made semis. Elena Krasovskaya, who, as you probably remember, made finals in the last World Championships in Paris in 2016. She's just 17 years old. Then from Japan, Futaba Ito, who's just 16 years old. And Saki Kikuchi, who according to the IFSC website is just 15 years old. Really good results for Japan, 12 climbers in the semifinals. Moving into the semis, again perfect difficulty, all the problems were topped, but almost no climber topped all the problems. Only Janja Gambret on the female side got 4 tops, and no men got to climb all the problems. Pretty powerful climbing in general. Some of the problems looked almost like outdoor, like this M1 for instance. Powerful problems for the women as well. A couple of them looked like problems taken straight from the USA Nationals. There were still some volumes, of course, like on this one for the men. And probably the trickiest problems were the last one, the slabs. Stas Aguejo once again went from doing really well in the qualifiers to really underperforming in the semis. Solsa was super close to making the finals. She ended up in the dreaded 7th place. Same goes for Alex Kazanov on the male side. In the end, 2 flashes and 3 zones were the ticket to the female final. The guys also needed 2 tops and 3 zones. Really good to see Gabriel Moroni making top 6 after a lot of times finishing in 7th place. First final for Gregor Bertsonic from Slovenia. And on the female side, no surprises whatsoever. Almost the same finalists as in Meiringen, only switching Sandra Letna for the world champion Petra Klingler. Moving into the finals, I'm not gonna do a problem by problem analysis because Niklas did a really good job with that, and again the link to the videos is in the description. I'm gonna point out that the live stream worked perfectly and that there was only one issue with the clock on the screen, not the clock on the venue. And the issue was that while Alexei Rubtsov was topping or trying to top M1, the first problem in the final. He was about to run out of time and the clock was not on the screen. And if there's a moment in which the clock is important, it's in one of those moments in which they are racing against the clock. With the previous format, the 4 minutes plus, having the clock on the screen is not that big an issue as long as you know that they got on the problem on time. But now that they can time out while climbing, you really need to see the clock on the screen. Other than that, about the route setting, I think for the guys the difficulty was once again really good, almost perfect. Only one guy, Tomoa Narasaki, the winner, got 4 tops, and that's the ideal result, to have a clear winner with 4 tops, and the winner being the only one with 4 tops. My only criticism of the route setting for the guys is that there were a lot of jumps. Well, for the guys and for the girls. Almost every problem had a jump except perhaps the slabs. And you could argue that the first move to the right on the male slab was also a jump. But anyway, jumping aside, I really liked the problems, especially the second one, which was really old school, except perhaps for the first move. And I think pretty much everyone climbed it incorrectly. Only Jerne Kruder was really close to doing what the route setters intended. But still, the solution of matching in that pretty terrible hold was pretty spectacular. Some of the climbers made it look super easy. For instance, Tomoa just mashed with 2 fingers in full extension and continued without missing a beat. Some people have pointed out that perhaps the top for the third problem was a little bit dangerous, and that may be the case, but actually I don't have a big issue with that. And in fact, Gabri Moroni, for instance, proved that it was possible to do the move pretty controlled. The last problem, a good combination of a really modern start and then climbing that would fit really well in Hueco tanks, for instance. Overhanging, small crimpy holes with, good bite, and just pulling hard. Climbers like Chon or Moroni really messed up the starting, and then some others like Alexei misread the sequence for the rest of the boulder. The winners were decided on the last problem, so once again, really good setting. On the female side, obviously, we had a tie between Janja Gambret and Miho Nonaka, who did exactly the same on each of the boulders. And of course, we can criticize the route setters for that, but it is not like they flashed every problem. They needed 7 tries for 4 tops and 5 tries for 5 zones. So the problems were not too easy. The thing is that they did exactly the same. That's really hard to predict and to avoid because, well, you can make the problems a little bit harder, but that's no guarantee. You may, perhaps go from a top in 3 attempts on the first problem to no tops on the first problem, and you are tied once again. At least we had the separation from the semifinals. The first problem for the girls, really old school, really slow climbing, almost again like rock climbing style, and then again a lot of jumps, coordination triple dyno on the second problem, then really powerful and I'm gonna call it basic climbing on the third one. Again, a problem that would fit on the USA Nationals really well. I bet Alex Puccio would love to climb on that one. And for the last problem, some tiny holes and a big jump and swing to the top, a really slopey volume. Again, some people are pointing out that perhaps that's a little bit dangerous. Well, it may be, but I have to point out that I haven't heard any of the climbers complaining about the safety of those moves. It's more like people watching and feeling, I wouldn't like to do that. But the climbers seem to be pretty comfortable with that, and they jumped and they fell and they are okay with it, as far as I know. But anyway, I enjoyed the final. Perhaps the male final was better in Meiringen, while the female final was better in Moscow. Spectacular results for the Slovenian and Japanese teams. Each team got a medal of each color. It seems like those 2 countries are doing something really right. And that's gonna be it for today. Your opinion is more than welcome in the comment section. Thank you so much for watching and take care.